smoke a joint,
get a uterus,
feel it, get a fucking uterus, and then write laws on that.
Oh my God.
Hi, girlies. Hello, Jenny.
Oh, hello, Bria.
Y'all don't understand what we just went through. It took us way too fucking long to start.
It's back.
The Jeter, Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac. Oh, yeah.
The Jeter just, okay. I've had this same Jeter here for a month at this point.
Longer.
And when we record, we just smoke a little tiny bit because it hits you very hard.
We definitely hit that like 6 different episodes.
Yes. Go back in the, actually a lot of them aren't out yet, but yeah. Go back in the archive in the future. It just hit us particularly hard. And so we are going to do a fun episode today, and we're going to debunk some popular weed myths. But first, this is the first time I feel like I sound like a robot.
No.
But first, let me consult Jenny about her bachelorette trip. This is the first time I've seen Jenny since the bachelorette. So spill the tea.
I've done a lot of stuff in the last week. So I went to Disney World for my bachelorette, and I was worried that like it was going to be lame because people were like, you're going to Disney World for your bachelorette? You didn't even come.
I didn't.
So but you know what? I appreciate the honesty because she up front, her and our other friend Lizzie were like, we're not going to Disney World for your bachelorette. We'll go to Mexico.
I said that before you even picked where your bachelorette was going to be. Like when Disney World was in the conversation, I was like, okay, if that's what you're doing, then I probably won't go.
Yeah. So we went there. It happened. And honestly, I'm glad we went. I had the best time. There was no drama.
Oh, I love that.
Everybody got along. I was very worried, like, if we went to Mexico, some shit was going to happen.
Yes.
So
honestly, if we went to Mexico, it would very much be giving, like, when Vanderpump Rules goes on a trip.
Yeah. It was, someone would have cried.
Lots of different shit happening.
Lost.
Yeah.
Someone would have lost something.
Someone would have, like, accidentally offended someone and then set someone off.
Yeah. We don't need that. So that's, you know what?
It's for the best.
It's okay to have multiple bachelorettes or have a bachelorette without everyone on it. Like, I also felt like, I don't really think things through, or I think I try to be optimistic about situations that I want to happen, and it's not always realistic. Like, I wanted more than 6 people to go to Disney World with us. That's really stupid. Like, it was a perfect number having 6 people. Like, if we had any more, it would have been too much. And Maddie had said this to me, like my matron of honor, like last year when she had her bachelorette in Joshua Tree, and there were 9 of us. And she was like, you should not have more than 9. Like, you won't get to spend time with everyone equally. And I felt like I got to equally spend time with everybody on the trip. And like sit with everybody on the rides. Everybody got to it, like 6 is a really good
number.
Is
good, yeah.
So we got there the first night. We went out in Disney Springs, which is like their downtown Disney, but it closed at like 10:30. But we got wasted a little bit. I got wasted. Like they were giving me shots. I got a free cookie. So, and it was great. I mean, Maddie did a phenomenal job planning.
Maddie is a total queen, just like absolutely killing it as matron of honor in every single way.
She was like, I know this is a lot. You would have done this for me. I'm like, I know, girl, but like I didn't. Like for your bachelorette, it was so easy because we went to Joshua Tree and hung out in a house. Like she had to wake up at 3 a.m. one time to book all of our shit she just was constantly on the phone
God.
having to plan so much. So I'm really appreciative of her. And she was so cute. We got like goodie bags. It was under the sea themed. So like all the bags were like little fishnets.
Aww.
And they like decorated like the last splash. And I liked that. But yeah, so the first night, got drunk, went out, got some free stuff. The second day was a fucking mission. Like Animal Kingdom and Epcot, doing 2 parks in one day and trying to drink around the world was wild.
Was that when the monsoon happened?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. See, when you posted about the monsoon, I knew that we would have this moment where we were like, it's so good that we weren't there together for that.
I mean,
I would have been miserable.
Bria, you have no... maybe you do.
Drunk, crying. I want to go home.
So, okay. So, like, we went to Animal Kingdom and then we went to Epcot, like, at 2. And I wanted to go on the Guardians ride. I wanted to go on Frozen. And I wanted to go on, like, one of the classic, like, Epcot rides. Like, the one that's in the golf ball thing. People get offended when you call Epcot the golf ball thing, but whatever. Ooh. I don't know what to call that thing. A sphere, I guess. And then in Epcot are all the different countries. So there's, like, Mexico, Japan, Germany, Norway. And that's where you drink around the world because you literally go around the world. We started drinking at like 4. And we had to get on a riverboat cruise for the fireworks at 8. Okay. And there's 8 countries. So that's basically like drinking 2 drinks in an hour.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. So we went to Mexico after going to the UK and Canada, which was a waste. Big waste. I mean, the UK was cooler, but Canada was just like America. And America is also one of the countries. I'm like, please, we don't need that. We're already in America.
Right. We're here. I'm experiencing it already.
Yeah. So we are in Mexico. We sit down and everyone's like ready to like sit down and chill. And I go, you guys, we got to go. We got to go all around the world. They're like, you still want to do that? And I was like, yeah. I have to. It's my bachelorette. Like, that's like one of the main reasons why we're here is to drink around the world.
Oh my God.
So we get our drinks to go and then we go to Norway. And when we get to Norway, it starts to rain. Not as bad as it was, but it starts to rain. I'm like, fuck. We got ponchos for everybody, but only Maddie and I wore our ponchos. And everyone else is wearing a white t-shirt, mind you.
Why was nobody wearing their ponchos?
They are just like, it's not raining that much.
If y'all saw Jenny's story,
girl,
it was a monsoon.
You know why too? Because I feel like a month ago they had fucking like movie rain, like rain where it's blowing them around and shit. So I was like, I'm not fucking around with Florida. Florida, someone said this on their trip, which I think is such a good way to describe Florida. Florida is the Australia of America. There is bugs, snakes, alligators, everything, crazy ass weather, Trump, like it's some wild, wild west shit out there.
You're right.
You know, like it's crazy. So I was like, I'm not messing with this rain. Light rain could turn into torrential in 5 seconds, which is exactly what happened. We're like trying to basically we would like get a drink for me, get snacks, throw it in a bag and run to the next country. And by the time we got to Japan, from drinking everything, I wasn't even drunk. I was like uncomfortably full. And they're like, sushi, we can get sushi. And I'm like, I can't eat it. They're like, what? I was like, I feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, we're running from country to country so we can make our fireworks boat cruise. And then the rain is so bad that I have a drink in my hand. And 5 seconds later, I look at the drink and it's half rain. Like it was raining so much, it was dumping the drink out.
Absolutely not.
We run to the riverboat cruise. I'm sprinting in the rain, like running in the rain. And with Emma, and we were trying to get crepes and we were like, fuck the crepes. We got to go get the boat. And I'm like, we're not getting on a boat in this rain. Like I know my dad, you're not getting on a boat when it's torrential rain. We get there, they cancel all of it. They say the fireworks are canceled. Bitch, those fireworks happen and no rain. I was pissed. I was just like, why would you cancel that? And then we can't even do it again because it's all booked up. Like they don't, you would think in a place that has crazy weather, they would like hold open slots for people to fill.
Yeah.
Like if they have to cancel.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to do it, but what a story. And Maddie at one point, she like puts the poncho hoodie up and so much water, like a bucket of water just falls into this hotel lobby when we're trying to like figure out what's happening with
absolutely fucking not.
Yeah. So that was crazy. Magic Kingdom was fun. We were just fucked up the whole time, like laughing, drunk, having fun. Then we had a pool day. It was great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm glad that it like actually worked out because I feel like there was a lot of stress for a hot minute. I am very excited for our Thoughts Bachelorette. We're doing a bachelorette for Jenny in LA. Yes, we will be at Jumbo's Clown Room.
Have you guys planned much of it or not? Other than the Airbnb? Like, have you talked about other?
Yes. Oh my God. It's handled.
Oh.
It's handled.
It's all handled?
It's handled.
What have you planned?
Everything.
You have not done shit.
No, we have.
I know when you're lying.
Okay. Well, it's handled.
Okay.
So not anything for you to worry about.
Oh, good.
What we do need to worry about is the misinformation about marijuana that is permeating our culture. We are debunking weed myths. Some of them are low-key true.
Yeah.
But we're going to debunk them.
We're mythbusters today.
Can you get addicted to weed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my personal opinion is yes, I've seen people do it. Now, I feel like it's controversial to say like you're addicted to weed and you should go to rehab for it, which I think is interesting because people,
that is controversial. Yeah.
They do it for alcohol.
I think you should be able to go to rehab for weed.
I think you can, but I think people who are addicted to weed don't think that they're addicted to weed.
And also I feel like weed, even if you do have that dependency on it, it's not as serious of a problem as like meth or heroin or whatever. People alcohol. Are just like, even alcohol. It's like, she smokes a lot of weed. Like,
but
whatever.
It's like, it's kind of, I think it's hard too because weed is it can be used for medical purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you can abuse medically prescribed drugs, but even that is hard to like, I don't know.
That's like, I mean, a lot of people are in rehab right now for prescription drug addictions.
Yeah. Because weed like helps you with your anxiety, but I also feel like it might be too much of a crutch. I don't know.
I think growing up, everybody always said you cannot get addicted to weed. It's not addictive. And I always thought that it was like mentally, psychologically addictive. But now I actually think it's kind of physically addictive too. Because I feel like if you smoke a lot of weed and then you stop, maybe like for me, I start having nightmares. If I go like multiple days in a row and I smoke every day and then I don't, I will have a nightmare that night.
Wow, I've never correlated that. I just had a really bad nightmare on the plane coming back from the Bachelorette. I fell asleep on the plane and Sandy, who I was sitting next to, I think woke me up, but I didn't realize she woke me up. And I just woke up and she goes, "I'm so sorry for waking you up." And I go, "Oh my God, I just had the weirdest nightmare that my dad," I thought like we were on the plane. I landed. My mom.
Oh God, like your nightmare mirrored your actual life. Oh,
that happens to
Lord.
me a lot.
Ooh.
And we landed and my mom was trying to call me. And she was like, "Your father just died." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, like," and she was like, "You never called us while you were away. So how would you even know what's going on?" And I was like, "What?" Because I felt guilty that I didn't call them, but I also like,
oh, see, that was like a manifestation of your, oh God, that is awful.
But I'm like, maybe from all the drinking.
Honestly, I think that like doing stuff like that multiple times in a row, no matter what it is.
But I was continuously doing it. I didn't like stop. So not the same, but.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think there's like a correlation.
Yeah.
Between those two things. The actual statistic is that 1 in 10 marijuana users develop an addiction, and the number is 1 in 6 if you start smoking before 18. It's very interesting.
Huh.
Anyway.
I feel like that's true. Oh, I also just heard something interesting related to that like there are 3 ages in your life where you should not like be heavily influenced because it can permanently damage you. And that's like at 15 or 16, after you graduate college, or as a senior citizen, like at 60.
Oh, wow.
Like if you start abusing something at those ages, it's hard to undo.
That's scary.
Yeah.
All right. What's our second myth?
Our second myth is, can you overdose on weed?
I've thought that I had been overdosing on weed many times. I've had many moments where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be the first person to ever overdose on weed. But the truth is that there is no documented overdose.
I think you can have an overdose of paranoia.
I agree.
But I don't think you can. I don't feel like you will overdose where you could die.
I agree.
I don't think anyone's ever died from doing weed. I think they've maybe died while high, but like not because of weed. Yeah.
I just had a moment where I had like tucked away something that you said in the beginning of the sentence, or like the beginning of that thought, to like respond to, and then I kept listening to what you were saying, and then I forgot what I was going to answer.
I hate that.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. We're here.
Okay.
I think that you can psychologically overdose. That's what you were saying. Like you can overdose on the paranoia. And I think that you can like really switch on like anxiety and shit like that. And that's kind of like the overdose.
Overdosed or while you're over.
From smoking too much weed. So this myth is false. You cannot overdose on weed.
Do you want to know what the next myth is?
Go ahead.
Should you drive while high?
A lot of people think that they are better drivers when they're high.
Wow.
I do not.
I think no. I think you can be a little high and drive, just like you could have one drink and drive. But I think if you should not drink really high. You should not drive really high. I have done it before, and I've been like, I shouldn't have done that, but I'm just driving really slow.
Yeah, a lot of people say they're more careful. I don't know. It's so funny or it's like really actually not funny, but I have driven high before too. And the times where I've driven high, it's been like in college on the way to a retreat in Big Bear. So like, it's kind of like you're snaking up a mountain and shit like that.
That's wild.
And like, I truly can't believe I did that. You know, that to me is very scary.
You know what that made me think of is in college, a lot of people would get high and ski or snowboard. And I'm like, no thanks.
Oh my God.
That's insane. Because your reflexes are not as...
I
agree. You could get really
That's
hurt.
the thing about like if you drive high, you might be driving a lot slower. Everything is just so slow.
Yeah.
I feel like including your reaction time. So like you see something coming and you're just like,
I think too, because like when you're really drunk, your eyes, it's hard to focus, you know, it kind of
people driving drunk is on a whole nother level.
That's
like
why I think when people are high, they're like, I'm not seeing like the world how I see when I'm drunk, so I could do it.
That could be it. Yes. Cause if you're drunk and you're driving, which I've never done, but like, I imagine it is a lot harder than when you're driving after smoking weed.
For sure. I mean, I have never driven drunk, but I've been in a car fucked up and I've been like, I can't look out the window.
Yes. Like I cannot imagine having to focus in that moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like driving high is the same. And a recent study found that drivers weave the same way whether they smoked weed or drank alcohol.
Interesting.
The swerving is throwing me. Because when you're drunk, you have the balance issue and like your eyes can't like, you know, determine what the fuck is going on. Are you okay?
No.
What happened?
Something in this house. Something, maybe a plant.
Do you want a Claritin?
Oh, okay. For now.
Okay. Should we talk about the next?
We are struggling. I'm struggling. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the next one, which
This is
thoughts.
I had never considered this one.
Oh, really?
Does weed lower your sperm count? Never thought about that.
Probably because you don't want to have kids.
Yeah, it's never crossed my mind.
It definitely does. 100%. I mean, even drinking does. Like,
Honestly, a lot of things do.
On Vanderpump, when like Katie and Schwartz were trying to have kids, and she was like, you can't drink more than like 2 drinks a week, I think. And he was like,
they're drinking like more than that a night.
Yeah.
I've never cared to think about this. I do believe that is true. Just because so many things can affect your sperm count, like why wouldn't this too?
Like when we try to have kids, I feel like I'll be like, we have to stop smoking. Well, I remember learning about sperm count decreasing from weed in high school. I feel like that was another tactic that they use of like, if you smoke too much, your sperm count will go down. And it's like, oh,
interesting.
Yeah, just like how if you wore really tight pants in high school, when everyone did wear really tight
I
pants.
did hear that.
Weed can decrease the volume of semen, sperm count, and alter the sperm's shape, which is weird.
Ooh, that's not good.
Your sperm should go back to normal after 4 to 6 months of stopping use.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
See, these little things that we do to our bodies really do take a long time to correct themselves, but they take no time to get us started.
Yeah. I mean, I've also heard people saying just like they're trying to have kids, so they're really trying to eat healthy, like cutting out carbs and
I've heard that,
stuff like that. Yeah.
It's like every little thing. Okay.
Yeah.
What's our next myth?
Our next myth is marijuana a gateway drug? We've talked about this before.
We sure have. You don't think it's a gateway drug?
I think the term gateway drug is propaganda.
I agree completely. Go on.
I feel like calling weed a gateway drug is like stigmatizing weed, because like alcohol, I would say, is also could be considered a gateway drug.
The gag is that weed has this gateway drug thing, but anyone's first drug, anyone who is a recurrent drug user, the first drug was clearly their gateway drug, regardless of what it was.
But also, like, me, for example, I only ever smoked weed and drank. Like, there was no correlation for me smoking weed and doing other drugs.
Me neither. I didn't feel like, I smoked weed.
Gap. Yeah.
Although I can see why how the idea of getting high is hard to conceptualize until you do it. And then once you do it, you're like, oh, interesting. This drug makes you high in a different way. Let me see what that feels like. Ooh, this drug makes you high in this way.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a part of it. But you're probably going to have that curiosity anyway.
Yeah. I mean, just because I smoked weed doesn't mean I want to do something else. But I get the point of it makes you more comfortable doing other stuff. But I never felt comfortable doing anything else for years.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I think it just depends on what the drug is. I think any drug that you would use is a gateway drug. I think most people just start with weed because that's the most accessible drug when you're in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
What's our next myth?
Can weed cause or exacerbate mental illnesses like anxiety or schizophrenia?
I know a lot of people. One of my mutuals on TikTok said that she can't smoke weed anymore because she gets anxious.
I get that. A lot of people do.
That happens to a ton of people.
I also think the type of weed that you smoke, like indica, I can't smoke indica. I definitely get more anxious on indica. I
do too, because it makes me hyper aware of my body.
Yeah.
And then I get like the health anxiety and I'm like, what am I feeling?
But I think it's like any drug can either work for you or not work for you.
It's true. Okay. Some people do acid for the first time and then the schizophrenia jumps out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some people never leave their trip. So.
Oh, yeah. My dad told me one time, I don't know if this is like a dad lie or the truth. You know how we talked about
dads
that before.
Dads do lie.
He said that one of his friends, I think either ate an edible or did acid or something and was like high for a month.
I've heard of people doing
insane.
acid and tripping for a month or longer.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Can you imagine?
That's honest. I mean, I don't want to say what I would do, but I would not handle that well.
No, not at all.
Well, the studies say that early and frequent cannabis use has been linked to anxiety, depression, and psychosis, but there haven't been any studies done to determine if it was the weed or if the participants were just more susceptible to those mental illnesses because of their trauma or like genetic makeup or whatever.
Wow.
This is why we need to study weed so that we can understand what the fuck is going on.
I feel like there's not enough
It's
research.
used by so many people. You would think that they would want to tell us what the fuck we were consuming.
Yeah. And especially since it's legal now.
Right.
You would think that there's more, like the LA Times article.
Exactly.
Which is our next, well, yeah.
Our next myth.
Yeah.
What is it?
Is weed good for you and does it have medicinal value?
We do think that weed has medicinal value for sure. And a lot of studies suggest that.
I mean, in the sheer fact that it helps cancer patients like be more comfortable. You know, I feel like a lot of people who have high anxiety, like we've talked about that. You know, I felt like with my epilepsy, it helped me a lot. And even when I asked my doctor about that, and he was like, I can't tell you that that's going to work for you for the rest of your life because there's not enough research dedicated to it. But the LA Times article or the video that I saw was basically saying like now that it's legal, there is more funding dedicated to like research for it and also like making sure that it's like clean or medicinally good for you. And the video said basically that vapes have a lot of was it pesticides in it, which basically can cause cancer and really horrible long-term
dementia.
Yeah. And, you know, vapes are so easy to bring anywhere.
They are. A lot of people vape.
So many people vape. I mean, Nico, I think about it, like, I'm just like, I feel like we got to quit the vapes.
Even when I get like a weed vape, I feel like I'm hitting it a lot more. And I also feel more like my voice gets very hoarse.
Yeah.
I'm just like I can feel it in my lungs. Like, ooh, this is not good.
Or I always sneeze when I feel like this from vapes. I'm like, what is in that Jeter? Like this.
Probably a chemical that you're allergic to.
I bet you. I mean, it doesn't say. And you don't really know.
You really don't know what exactly you're smoking, where it's from.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's like organic. What does organic even mean, you know?
I know. And then you don't really think about it because you're not like ingesting it all the time. I mean, yes, you are with edibles, but like smoking and getting allergic to something, it's kind of wild.
That is wild. And I remember you talking about you having that reaction to vapes like months and months ago.
Some vapes don't do that to me though.
I'm sure it depends on what the flower that they're using is.
Like that vape that I brought, the dank vape, that doesn't happen to me. So that's why I'm like,
dank
okay.
might not use the pesticides.
Yeah.
I also saw on Reddit recently, and this freaked me the fuck out. So if you regularly smoke weed, and you have anxiety, trigger warning. It's going to set you the fuck off. Do you even want to hear it? Well, I have to say it now. I saw a Reddit thread about something called CHS, Cannabis Hyperemesis Syndrome. And it basically happens where if you smoke a lot of weed for an extended period of time, like for years on end, you're smoking at least 2 to 3 times a week, you can develop this syndrome where you painfully vomit for hours. And it's characterized by scream vomiting.
What's scream?
Because you're in so much pain while you're vomiting that you're screaming. It is really fucking bad. Okay. And there's a whole subreddit dedicated to it. This has happened. It's very, very it happens to a lot of people.
Whoa. So I dated a guy in college my freshman year who smoked so much weed that he said he had horrendous stomach pains and would vomit sometimes. That he had to smoke so much weed so that It's basically like a negative cycle.
That a lot of people were saying that on the subreddit, that a lot of people, they think, oh, my stomach's hurting, I feel a little nauseous, let me smoke weed, not knowing that it's the weed that's making you nauseous.
And I know someone else who will not be named who has that problem, and it's debilitating her life. But she smokes like dabs.
If she stops smoking weed, it goes away.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it gets worse. It's like weaning off a drug.
I know, but you wean off the drug for 2 weeks through the detox period.
It's so hard.
Do we need Suboxone for weed smokers at this point? Like,
maybe that's our idea. I mean, seriously, like that's why I think
like
you
CHS
can be
is scary.
You can be addicted, and some people it really will. That can happen. I didn't know that was a thing because again, there's not enough research. Like, it's not correlated to her weed smoking. They can't figure it out. But like, that's the only thing I can think of is because she abuses it horrendously.
Oh, the dabs are a lot. It's also worse or like more frequent in Black people.
What? Really? Well, the 2 people I know are white. Very white.
It does affect white people as well, but Black people are more likely. I don't know. Like, see, we're still figuring this shit out, but yeah.
Do you know anybody who has had that issue?
I've known people who have thrown up from smoking too much weed, but not like for an extended period of time. This lasts like a week of just like constantly vomiting. Like, I don't know if I've heard of that.
I didn't know about that.
Anyways, does smoking weed at a young age impact your brain development?
I think doing any drug at any age under 18 definitely impacts your development.
Absolutely.
Your brain.
The thing is that you would never really know that because you don't know what it's like to have a fully developed brain. So you just think that you're cruising when in reality you can't remember why you walked into a room, you know?
Like, again, with the vaping, so many children vape. So many.
You guys, we almost obliterated the tobacco industry. We were this fucking close. And then the vapes came out, and then it became weed vapes. And now it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing, guys?
The cat's out of the bag on that one.
I would highly recommend telling your younger siblings, cousins, whatever, do not smoke until your brain finishes developing at like 25, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe wait till then, honestly. Definitely don't do it in middle school and high school and stuff. I feel like, I don't know, sometimes my memory is not great.
I do feel like, though, the younger generation like abuses the smoking because of the vapes. Because it's so easy.
Yeah. Because it doesn't really have like a smell, or sometimes it can smell good. So you can do it inside places, you know?
Yeah.
Just don't do it. It does affect your brain development. All right, what's our next myth?
Does weed cause cancer? Maybe.
I think it depends on how you smoke it.
Yeah. Like the vape.
The vape we already know the vapes cause problems.
Yeah.
So if you're vaping it, for sure. Smoking,
yeah.
especially if you smoke blunts, because the blunt wrapper has all of those tobacco chemicals.
And the glue.
They know that. They already know that causes cancer.
But I love a blunt. I mean,
I haven't smoked a blunt in years.
A blunt to me is like my version of a cigar. You know, it's for a special occasion.
Yeah, it's for the SZA album release party. That's the last time I smoked one.
Me too.
That was a while ago.
When was that? Like 2 years ago? A year ago? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Have I smoked a blunt since then?
I definitely have not.
I mean, doing a blunt is a mission. You know, you gotta gut it.
It sure is.
You gotta pack it.
But back in high school, when I was going with my friend to meet the guys that she met on Bebo and Kick, they were rolling the blunts up regularly.
Yeah, in college, those Swisher Sweets.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely can, but I also think it has positives to it for sure.
Yeah.
To help even if you have cancer. All right. Our last myth is vaping worse than smoking a joint or out of a bong?
Vaping is definitely worse.
Yes,
in my eyes.
yes, and yes. It's so convenient. It's really nice. Like going to a concert and having a vape, great. You know, you don't have to like light it. Even smoking, it's like, and I don't really want to eat edibles all the time.
Yeah, because if you're at a concert, I don't know. You don't really know when it's going to kick in. It's just, it adds a different variable to the table.
I do like, and I haven't used it in a long time because I lost the bottom of it, but PAX, they make that vape where you can put flour in it.
Yes.
Maybe I should go back to that.
No.
Why?
Because you shouldn't vape, period.
No, but I think it's better because it's vaping the flour. It's not oil.
I don't think it matters.
Oh. Well, because I think it's a problem because you're lighting oil versus lighting. It's not better probably, but I think it's
probably
better.
like the tiniest bit better.
Yeah.
It's still not good.
Yeah, it's not good, but I think it's better.
Well, would you believe it if I told you that we were wrong? Vaping is less harmful than smoking a joint. And bongs don't filter out enough harmful smoking chemicals to make a difference. But blunt wrappers are highly toxic as well.
I don't believe that. Who said that?
The University of Chicago Medical School.
Oh. I mean, I know someone who smoked cigarettes and they had to quit for their health. Like it was a do or die situation. And they were like, "Can I smoke a vape?" And the doctor was like, "Vapes are worse than smoking a cigarette." So I think it's the same thing. I think there's not enough around vaping, but if I know people who have gotten really, really, really like in the hospital sick from vaping too much.
Me too. I see it on TikTok all the time. I had to go to the hospital because I got a lung infection from vaping. I had to go to the hospital because my lungs are fucking shredded now. Like, it's not good for you for sure.
Like, if you think about it, I think smoking any loose leaf thing is not as harmful to you as lighting oil and hitting the vape.
So where do you think dabbing falls into that?
In that vaping category.
You think it's the worst?
Vaping is good for you, or dabbing is good for you at all.
I don't know. I don't think so either. Yeah. Honestly, none of it is good for you. Like, stop trying to play the game like, oh, like, I'm going to smoke this, but I'm going to not do it in a blunt. I'm going to do it in a joint. Like, you're still smoking something at the end of the day. You should not be heating up your lungs and your tubes and shit.
I mean, I think smoking a pipe is probably the best way to smoke.
That feels harsh to me.
But like I think about it, like people smoke tobacco pipes. It's not great for you, but it's better than a rolled cigarette.
I guess it's one less thing that you're burning and smoking and inhaling. Wow. Well, we really busted those myths today, did we not?
We busted them down.
Bust it down.
What's our... Bust it. Bust it. Is you fucking... Right? Down to the strip of pole.
Oh.
What?
Anyway, our idea of the week is that before writing legislation about weed, all politicians should be required to smoke a joint. Not while they're writing it. I'm saying be in the right frame of mind when you're writing the legislation. But
know what you're talking about.
No, you have to have gotten high before.
People who write legislation about guns, they probably own guns.
And they use them frequently.
People who write legislation about alcohol have had alcohol. People who write legislation about our uteruses
don't have them.
That's why it's fucked up.
See, y'all are speaking on a lot of things you don't know.
No.
Smoke a joint.
Get a uterus.
Feel it. Get a fucking uterus. And then write laws on that. And that's our idea of the week.
We love it.
Let's finish off with a quote.
I don't do drugs. Just weed, though. Dave Chappelle.
Amen. Amen. Anyway, follow us at High Girlies Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to any other podcasts.
And tell us what you want to hear from us. What should we talk about?
Do you like us talking about pop culture things or like weedy stuff like this?
Or conspiracy theories?
Ooh.
Or
do you like
something
the tinfoil hat episodes? Let us know. And with that,
Bye, girlies.